Hey everyone, Soul V here. It's been a couple of, I guess, weeks or I don't know how much long has been, but I've been preparing for Springfest that was coming online. I only prepared for a week. I was really busy with like other things. I only had time for a week to prepare for it, but I went with it. I participated in AO and I participated in North America. In North America, I was placed 13th. And my loss was to WCC players, including Calvin and Derek Tao at the very last round. Amazing players, I learned a lot. It was my very first BCS and I had an amazing time. Got to learn new tricks. I had some new tips. Also, my opponents were pretty chill. So yeah, I had fun overall. And I was placed top in, I guess I was 13th in North America. And I would say in around 25 ranks in AO. So here's a deck profile for North American. I used Granblue. I was going with Granblue or Luard because I loved it. I didn't care about the meta at this point. I was just like, I love this deck. It's just so toolboxy, so much fun. I was having insane amount of fun with it. I was, even though the games I lost, I'm like, I don't even care. It's so fun. I love this deck and that's why I went with it. Anyway, let's get into it. Our starter is a normal one. Now we have 4 of our nitros. Now there are some certain matchups that you will not ride nitros. I will explain that later, but mostly you would ride nitros. Nitros has this insane amount of like utility where you can just pop off with the skull dragons. You can draw because her skills allows you to do same thing twice. So even if sometimes you're breaking, if you don't have defense, because this deck doesn't draw that much compared to other decks. For example, Prism, they will have huge hand against you. Luard can have a better hands against you. So sometimes the skill allows you to just take 2 ships, kill them, draw 2. It's really good card. You can rush, you can draw cards, you can counter charge, you can do your ghost shenanigans, a lot of things. Yeah, so Nitro's best ride. Definitely amazing card. Allows you for the 4 multi-attack with Skull Dragons. That's your win con. I would say it's like Megiddo, but it's Cult or something. Yeah, but great card. Definitely 4 of. I would say everyone's running 4 of. So now I'm running 3 Beatrice. I was running 2, but then I was like, oh, the new meta, the current meta requires you to run 3 because of Gabriel. Now, in Gabriel, you want to ride this card, you want to get a Protect 2, and then you want to spawn bunch of ghosties on your field to survive. I have played against lots and lots of Gabriels, a lot at this point. So, and her skill allows you to survive. I remember one time my opponent went with, twice. He did Hamill twice. I still survived. It happened in 2 tournaments, by the way. NA and also AO. Like I got just like shat on by Hamios. Like I don't know how, but I damage denied them. I completely played around it, but then at one point I'm like, if I'm playing Granblue, I gotta finish them. So after the damage denial was over, so I started like attacking them, but they still got this 3 counter blast 2 times, and because of the heal triggers, counter charge, and everything. But still, I managed to survive, and I killed them later on, which was scary as hell. In AO, I remember I was playing Luard, and I survived against like 1 Hamiel, and other column was Feather Palace. So both columns were like huge, and I couldn't guard I couldn't use any sentinels. So if you are in those kind of situations, Beatrice will help you a lot. For example, if your opponent's coming at you, let's say 1 column Feather Palace and one column Hamiel, let's say 63 no sentinels, other ones 53 no sentinels, and both of them might have additional crits on it. So in those situations, Beatrice will save your fucking life. Amazing card. It gives plus 5k to all your ghosts in the field. They can intercept. You can survive with I remember my shielding was 90k or more than that at one point, because Hamiel was attacking around 89 to 90 something. I still survived. So that goes to show that this card is really, really good, and it will give you a lot of defensive options. So definitely 3 off in the current meta. Now I'm playing 3 of Skull Dragons. Now I would run this card at 4, but because of current meta we can't. That's why it's at 3 right now. I would say in premium how you attack with the 5 Megiddo combo. This one is your 4 Megiddo combo. 4 Skull Dragon combo to how to kill them. So you would do your bone shenanigans, pop out a Skull Dragon. You can spawn Skull Dragons with multiple ways. You can use Columbard to put them in a drop zone, revive it with Beatrice. You can do a Skull Dragon. You can do the bone thing. You can do other cards. You just gotta play around. You gotta big brain this thing to like put them in a drop zone and then call it. But yeah, it's a great toolboxing deck. So you would, once you start playing it, you will get used to it. But yeah, Skull Dragon, 3 of them. There's no. You should at least run 3 because if one goes in damage, you at least have 2 to do like 4 attacks. So yeah, I was running at 4, but because of the current meta, I had to go with 3. Now grade 2 lines are pretty standard. Columbard. Now I have a lot to say about this card. So the very first thing, every single time you play, once you start climbing up, your opponent's gonna damage deny you on the grade 2. Now it could be for 2 reasons. Like the number 1 reason, I have never seen someone doing it, but normally what I do with Columbard, you normally mill something. I run a grade 1 ghosty. I will explain the whole combo later, but normally you would have a Beatrice in your drop zone because of Damien, and then you will use Columbard to take a Skull Dragon and put in a drop zone, and then revive a Beatrice, and it can revive a Skull Dragon. So now you have a grade 2, and then you have 2 grade 3s on your board, and you can rush it that way with this 1 counterblast. But when you go to top tables, when you go to start going up and up, you will meet smarter opponents that will damage deny you. So what you can do, they either damage deny you because they know this combo. That's the first reason, but I've never seen someone doing that for some reason. Second reason would be for your nitros. So for nitros, they're trying to restrict your counterblast so you cannot use Columbard just in case you don't have a Beatrice in your drop zone. So they will keep you in 1 damage or 0 damage. If they keep you in 1 damage, you can use a skill to pop out a Jessie, and Jessie will give you a counter charge, and that way you can do your Columbard, and also you can use your nitros. And this card has a lot of potential. If you're breaking, you can just take out your nitros, or if you want a Beatrice in your Gabriel matchup, you can just spawn that as well. Normally you will also go for bones because bones are very important. So yeah, there are multiple targets you can choose with this card, and that's what's great about this card. Now we have his partner, I would say, Greed Shade. Now both of them together, if you hit them both, I would say this duo is carrying this whole deck. Is so fucking good. Like this duo makes the whole deck function way better than if you didn't have it. Like I would not, these 4 cards, like these 8 cards, I don't think that they're going anywhere unless there's like something comes out that power creeps the whole thing. For example, how Tireless All got power creep because of the dragon. So Columbard will mill something, and then with Greed Shade, if you have it, you can take that card from your drop zone to your hand. Do you want Perfect Guards? You got it. Do you want Beatrice? You got it. Anything you want, it will give you that. I believe these 2 cards together are the best cards. Columbard still like mills something and calls something. So I in my opinion, I have used Columbard way more than Greed Shade. But I can definitely see these 2 cards are the best cards for now in V Premium, Granblue, or like Granblue in general. Now we are running 2 of the ship. Now ship is there for literally plus you. There is nothing else. Like yes, the power-ups are good, but like this deck doesn't plus as much as other decks. You need this, like you need Ghost Ship in order to plus. And then I'm using one of this Ghosty, which is Jessie. Gives you a counter charge, but also it's a Ghosty. Now if you're using Beatrice, you can use Jessie the Ghosty to have a good board. It gets plus 5k. It's also is gonna get plus 5k shield. Also forgot to mention, whenever you go into the matchup against Galrayo, normally you would go with the Protect 2. And if you have no other targets on your, like let's say you just run out of target, let's say you guarded once, and now you have nothing. Jesse can come back. It can retire too and just come back. So that's like just in case if you need that extra shield, it's also possible with Jesse. And counter charge is obvious. So Jesse as a one-off is it's important, but like you will not use him a lot. If you're not facing, you know, Gargoyles a lot, I don't think so you would be using it that much compared to when you are facing Gabriel or you are desperate in need of counter charge, because this deck doesn't use that much of a counter plus. So now we're playing 4 navigators. Only the best mill engine in this deck. He just keeps this deck alive. You can rest too. If you don't hit him, there is some other ways you can work around it. Because like in my 3-4 matchups, I didn't see him at all. I couldn't mill. I had to use different combos to just take my drop zone to 10. For example, I used multiple column birds, multiple Damien the Ghosty, which is a new card. So if you don't hit Skeleton Soldier Navigator, there are some other things you can do in this deck to get your drop zone, you know, like big. You know, it's not the end of the world, but like it will hit you pretty hard if you don't get the navigators. So, but even though it hits you hard, it's not the end. You can still come back, you can still survive, you can still perform your attacks, you can still rush your opponent down. Every single time I don't see my navigators, I did that strategy and it worked. I rushed the hell out of them. That's the only way I could win. Because I know for a fact, if I don't have my navigators, I'm not gonna last that long. My opponent's gonna kill me, and I won't be able to just, like, you know, have a gigantic attacks with Skull Dragons. So you know what? I'm not gonna wait until that. I'm just gonna just rush them now, and that's how I won some of the games. Now I'm playing this boy. Gets bigger and also plus 10k shield. He is in this deck just for Gabriel. Again, grade 3 Beatrice, you spawn a marker, protect 2. He's there, he gets plus 10k shield, and plus I guess he would become a huge shield with Beatrice power combined, protect 2 power combined, himself combines. So that's a great, you want, if you are in the Gabriel matchup, just take him out right away, just take him out and then just spawn it next time on the field. Once they ride up on the grade 3, if you're playing your games right, they won't be able to do the combo because you are damage denying them, you are staying alive. But the moment you feel like they're ready to go, because once you start rushing them, because you have to kill them at one point, so once you start rushing them, you need to have this card on the board because you know what's coming, so you better have it ready. So normally what you would do, you would try to attack them. They will also try to attack you. And my hope is that whenever they try to attack you, they either damage check or their crits, or they drive check their crits. I try to get their crits out as soon as possible, and then I guard it against it. So now I am not afraid of my Hamiel combo again. But again, I got it Hamiel twice. I still survived. This deck is really like a tank, and it won't be able to kill you. So if you play your cards right, you can definitely survive. Now, I'm only playing 2 bones. A lot of people are playing 4. It's completely fine. Normally if I'm not playing against my Garvel matchups, I would mill this card right away. Like, I don't want to risk it because if I only have 1, yes, there are other ways to play around it, but this card makes my Skull Dragon combo way more easier. I don't have to use that much of an effort. This is just a lazy effort card which spawns your Skull Dragon. I'm sorry. I'll put 2 back and take the Skull Dragons out. Yep. And now I'm playing 4 of my perfect card draw. Some people are playing crits, which is fine. In my opinion, I need draws because this deck lacks the hand. So like once you're done with your combos, and if you have nothing left, your opponent will kill you because you have nothing to guard against. Like, this deck doesn't plus that much, in my opinion, compared to other decks. It does plus a bit, but not as much, because we only have a ship for additional draw, and we have now this card for additional draw. It's a draw trigger, so that's why I'm playing 4 draw triggers. Now playing 8 criticals, standard, not much to say there. One thing I may say is that when you're playing against Luard, I rushed the living shit out of them, and that's where these criticals are useful, because I know for a fact they won't be able to do anything on their first grade 3. They will just build tempo and that's my right moment for me to rush them, because they will either A, lose resources, 2, take a damage, but they can max go to 5, but you're attacking really heavily. So your point at this point is that just take all the resources out so they don't have anything to guard. Now they can spawn everything from their deck, but on the very first grade 3, their turns are not that great. So if you want to survive, you can rush them down and kill them on the grade 3. But yeah, that's why crits are helpful. And here we have 4 ghosty heals, because gigantic shield, I just pawn it in my rearguard circles just to survive. At one point I purposely milled my heals out, because you don't have the luxury to heal at one point. So you mill your heals out and then you spawn it on your rear guards. Yeah, so that's how you survive, because this is gonna be a tank if you go against Gabriel. Like, you want to mill your heals out, you want to mill your ghosties out, as many ghosties as possible, spawn them, and then guard it, and then start milling every other piece again, and just trying a tempo, trying to survive, and then attack them with the 4 skull dragons at the very end, and that will be useful as well. Anyway, yeah, that was my experience with BCS. It was my very first event. I enjoyed a shit ton, loved it. I'm gonna try it for next year as well. I hope remote fight is still available, so it gives me a chance to participate in BCS, and I don't have to travel. But yeah, amazing experience. I would definitely play this deck again. Like, right now it's super fun honestly, and I just love it. The things you can do in this deck is insane. The amount of choices you have, the amount of toolboxing you have is just great. Anyway, that's it for me, and let me know if you guys played any. How was your experience in the BCS if you participated? That was from me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.